Professor Karen Phelps is adjunct professor at Sydney Medical School and conjoint professor at the University of New South Wales in the Faculty of Public Health and Community Medicine. Karen has been a familiar face to many Australians over the last 20 years, during which time she has appeared regularly on television, radio, and the print media, informing the Australian public on health issues. She's been the health writer for the Australian Women's Weekly for over 20 years and writes political commentary for Medical Observer magazine. She's a regular commentator on general practice, public health, medical politics, and human rights issues. In 2001, she was awarded the Centenary Medal for Services to Health and Medicine, and 2011 was made a member of the Order of Australia for Service to Medicine, particularly through leadership roles with the Australian Medical Association to education and community health, and as a general practitioner. Please welcome Karen Phelps. Julie Mooney-Summers, right here to my right, is a senior lecturer in qualitative health research in the School of Public Health and a research fellow in the Centre for Values, Ethics, and the Law in Medicine, University of Sydney. From 2007 to 2011, Julie was based at the Kirby Institute for Infection and Immunity in Society at the University of New South Wales, where she worked with Indigenous communities on community-based participatory research around resilience and sexually transmitted infections. She's an associate investigator in the Research Excellence in Aboriginal Community-Controlled Health collaboration and NHMRC-funded Centre for Clinical Research, Excellence in Aboriginal Health. Other research projects include same-sex attracted young women's perceptions of STIs and young female sex workers in Cambodia. Julie has a long history of research around lesbian women's health, young lesbian identity, lesbian mothers with Susan Gollenbach, premenstrual stress in lesbian relationships with Jane Usher, and more recently, same-sex attracted women's sexual health. She runs SWASH with Rachel Deacon, a longitudinal survey of lesbian and bisexual women's health. Julie works closely with ACON's Lesbian Health Project and sits on their advisory group on lesbian health. Please welcome Julie Mooney-Summers. To my left and sitting in the center, Gretel Killeen is the author of more than 20 books. She has hosted radio and television programs across the country, worked as a journalist, stand-up comic, and voice artist. As a Goodwill Ambassador for UNICEF, Gretel has written and directed works to raise awareness of AIDS orphans in Zambia, rabies control in India, unexploded ordnance in Laos, and poverty in Bangladesh. In theater and stage, Gretel has been a producer at Sydney's 90s cult venue, the Herald Park Hotel, performed as a narrator in the Rocky Horror Show, and entertained the troops in the Middle East, the Solomon Islands, East Timor, and Egypt. Gretel also, yes, well-rounded. Gretel also traveled to Afghanistan, where she was the host and producer of segments for the ABC Australia Day live telecast and an Australia Day ambassador. In 2011, Gretel filmed for the charity VBB, Vets Beyond Borders, in India under the direction of her daughter, and also wrote and directed her first feature film, Jimmy and Gret Don't Do Sex. Gretel is currently working on a new feature film, Men in Small Doses. Gretel's greatest achievement will always be her role as the single mother of her 2 children. Please welcome Gretel Killeen. Anne Luby, furthest from me on the left, is an AFI award-winning actress who has worked extensively in film and television, appearing in such television classics as A Country Practice, All Saints, yeah, and the award-winning ABC miniseries Simone de Beauvoir's Babies, and has starred in feature films Willful, Daydream Believer, and most recently with John Malkovich in Disgrace. And, ooh, and has received the Sydney Theatre Critics Award for Best Actress in Arcadia for the Sydney Theatre Company, and has also been awarded an AFI as Best Actress in a television miniseries for her performance in Simone de Beauvoir's Babies. In January 2005, Anne's sister, Amanda, was diagnosed with breast cancer. Amanda, at the time, was a healthy, vibrant 37-year-old mother of 2. Anne decided that because laughter is the best medicine, a prescriptive cure was in order. She put her skills and connections to good use by creating a theatrical vehicle in celebration of breasts and those who support them. I'm sure you can all really, can I hear it? Amen. Yeah, in order to raise both awareness and funds for the National Breast Cancer Foundation, Breast Wishes, an uplifting musical, has toured nationally in 2009 and 2011, having been seen by over 20,000 women in 50 regional centers throughout Australia. Please welcome Anne Luby. Rocco D'Amore, to my right, is many things. Rocco, by day, is a talented hairstylist, a general domestic whiz, and an intensely private person who has a passion for cycling. Can we talk about that later, Rocco? So I have this new passion for cycling. Like Tour de France, I'm like all over it. My girlfriend thinks I'm a freak. That's okay. And her Sicilian roots. Rocco D'Amore, by night, is a smooth as silk Italian love god whose drag king performances channel the essence of European masculinity. Originating from Sydney, born in Camperdown, first-generation Australian-Italian, Rocco has enjoyed a multifaceted career spanning from international modeling during the late 80s, traveling the Southern Hemisphere, establishing Planet Hollywood restaurants in the mid-90s, and online web producer for Juice magazine during the explosion of the World Wide Web in the early 2000s. In the last decade, Rocco has followed in her father's impressive footsteps to become a passionate hairdresser working in Melbourne's Fitzroy. Rocco's ability to charm and entertain is second to none. He is drag's ultimate ladies' man, a Giorgio Armani kind of guy, who has wooed straight women, confused gay boys, and challenged macho men, and been every lesbian's fantasy. Please welcome Rocco D'Amore. Siri May, to my right, has been on our panel previously, and tonight she is stepping in for Kate Fairman, who could not be with us. She has an extensive experience working in the field of health promotion, community development and advocacy within the HIV health sector and the GLBTQI communities. In 2004, Siri co-established the Young Women's Project at ACON, Australia's first permanent peer education program for young, same-sex attracted women, and went on to coordinate the ACON Lesbian and Same-Sex Attracted Women's Health Project, spearheading the development of Turning Point, Australia's first lesbian health strategy in 2008. She was recognized for achievements in the community with her inclusion in Australia's 25 most influential lesbians and gays in 2008. Presently, she's feeling a little bit guilty that she's not at home hitting the books as she starts her Masters of International Human Rights Law on Friday. Please welcome Siri May.